All right, team. So here we go. We're going to do a series of poses and stretches to get ourselves ready for ski season. Some of them will be balance. Some of them will be leg and glute strength, and some of them will be abs. So let's get started. Stand with your feet hips distance apart, and just rock back and forth for a moment and really get grounded in your feet, and try to spread your toes. I'm going to scooch over here so this is not in my way. So spread your toes and just rock back and forth for a moment from heel to toe. Take it slow. And each time just come up a little bit higher on the balls of your feet, stretching them out. And keep your knees soft, don't lock your knees. All right, just get a sense of that grounding and that balance. And the next thing we're gonna do is just add some arm movements to it. So I'm gonna back up so I don't hit more pipes. And on the next forward, lift your arms up. When you come forward, lift them up. And just move in that swing for a moment. When you're up, your toes are up. And when you drop your heels down, your whole body is going to come down. And when you're falling back on your heels, lift your toes up. So just check that out for a minute. And when you lift, really lift through your core and through your sides, not just through your arms. Okay? All right, and bring that motion to close. And now we're just gonna come to the top of our mat, warm up a little bit more with a couple of sun salutations. So, arms up, and then down and bend. Halfway lift, drop down, lift your right foot back and down, let your left foot follow, stack your shoulders over your wrists, drop down into chaturanga, baby cobra, and back to down dog. And you're gonna bring your right foot forward. When you do that, the two things I want you to think about is doing it on an exhale so that you create space in your belly as you fold, and also pulling your shoulders forward and curved, almost cat back as you do that. Get your foot as far forward as you can. Bring your left foot up to meet it. And just hang here for a minute. Shake it out a little bit. And we're gonna do that one more time. So we're gonna lift up again. Don't be in a rush to lift up. Don't give yourself a head rush. And again, just keep rocking back and forth on your feet throughout this practice, finding your balance on your heels and your toes. And very slowly, lift your arms up. Catch some energy up here. Slowly bring them down. Raise to a half fold. When you're in this position, just stay here for a minute, soft knees, rocking back and forth, and really pull your spine, like pull from the crown of your head and your tailbone. Straighten out as much as you can. Drop your hands. This time we're going to step back with our left foot, and then our right, And in this pose, before you drop down, just really ground down in your hands like you're pushing the earth away from you. Slowly drop down into chaturanga. You can take your cobra a little higher. Curl your toes back under and push back up to down dog. Again, this time you're going to bring your left foot forward on an exhale and really curving your back to make space. Curve up by your shoulders. Let your right foot come up to meet it. And slowly come back up to Tadasana. For this next part, I'm gonna face you. You can stay at the top of your mat if you want, or you can stay on the side. And we're gonna do a sequence. Actually, I would stay at the top of your mat. You'll have more space that way. So we're gonna do a sequence that involves chair poses. And that's gonna really work our balance and our strength in our thighs and our glutes. So Lisa had this great cue for getting into chair, and that is to know how far down to go. So what you're going to do to get into your chair position, we're just going to practice this a moment again, rocking back and forth, spreading your toes. You're going to bring your hips, your rear end back while you're lowering, but you're always going to keep your knees stacked over your ankles. So what that means is you're always going to be able to see your toes. You don't want your knees pushing forward over your toes because that's when you're going to get injured. So lower back down. And the cue from Lisa is that if you can, bring your chair as far down as you can until your arms touch the ground. That's where you're really going to feel your thighs lighting up. And then when you get there, you're going to lift your arms up overhead. And we're going to stay here for 3. 1, 2, don't forget to breathe, 3, and just bend it for a moment. We're going to do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, and bend it one more time. Now we're going to add to that chair pose. We're going to add some lunges and some balance work. So there'll be 3 variations on it, and then we'll switch sides. So for the first one, you're going to get into your chair pose. Then you're going to bring your right foot back into a lunge, and you're going to raise your hands up into warrior 1. And when we return back forward, we're going to return back with our right foot, but we're not going to place it down. We're going to bring it up in front of us. So you're going to lean forward, bend your knee a little lower, lean forward, first land on the toe of your back foot, and then slowly pull up. And try to do that in one fluid motion. It can be slow, but try to keep it fluid. And pull that foot up, your thigh up into a 90-degree angle. And then we're going to go back down to the lunge. You can rest your arms here for a minute. We're going to do that again. On this next round, instead of pulling our leg up at a 90-degree angle, we're going to do the same thing, 90-degree, but now out to the side. So we're going to start working that hip joint. So when you're ready, arms up and lean forward, up and out. And just try to balance here for another second or 2. Bring it back forward and back down to your lunge. The last one, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to go from here to the side, and then we're going to rotate back a little bit. When you're ready, lean forward, pull up, drag your toe, balance, get your balance. And when you struggle with your balance here, what you can do is tighten your core. Imagine pulling up from your kneecap in your standing leg, and also imagine pulling your thighs towards each other. Then go to the side. Woo, getting tired. And now from your knee and your hip, I guess a little bit, just angle back. That was a little bit more awkward. And bring it down. Shake it out. And we're going to do the other side. So I'll switch sides so you can see the leg that's moving. So we're going to start in our chair pose. Move forward. Start in our chair pose. Lean forward and bring your left foot back. Warrior one. And on a slow drag forward, bring your left leg to a 90-degree angle. Hold it for a minute or two, a second or two. And if you're feeling this in your hip crease, then what I want you to do is focus your attention to different muscles. Focus to your glute, because that's really more of where you should be feeling it, maybe in your core. When you're ready, hinge back into warrior one. Drag forward again. Up to 90 degrees and out. And try to keep your hips squared in the direction you're looking as you would if you were going down the mountain. Bring it back, hinge back, warrior one. And last one, I think this one might be easier to get into without coming forward and to the side. So watch me for a minute. I'm gonna try and change this up, make it a little bit less awkward. So I think what I'm gonna do is lean forward, up, and back. Yeah, that's less awkward. Okay, just open up your hips. And come back to standing. So take a moment to do that last one where you're going from lunge up. So I'm still, my knee is still fairly pointed down, and then I'm pulling it back. I'm getting a little back stretch in there too. Okay, shake that out. So we're gonna go into our warrior one pose again, and we're gonna do some stretches from there. So get your balance, rock back and forth for a moment, and go ahead and raise your arms up. Bring your right foot back into warrior one. Now we're gonna rotate to warrior two. So your back foot is now perpendicular to your front. Your arms are actively pulling out shoulder height. And take that lunge a little further. And you should be feeling that a lot of places. Your glutes, your hamstrings, maybe your right quad. And when you bring it back up, when you're gonna straighten that left leg, you're gonna bring your arms overhead. And we're gonna do that 2 more times. Okay. We're going to come back to Warrior Two. We're going to rotate our back foot back to 45-degree angle. So we're facing the front of our mat again, hands on hips. And what I want you to do from here is straighten your front leg, pull up out of your hips, and you're going to hinge from your hips. So imagine there's a rope at the crown of your head. You're keeping your back straight and you're hinging from your hips. You're not bending from your waist. And as you do that hinge, be sure to pull your left hip back and let both of your hips again be square. Okay, so we're gonna just do that hinge and we're gonna come back up. And this time I want you to either clasp your hands or you can hold one wrist with the other hand and kind of open up your heart, right? Like pull your shoulders back and down and pull forward. And you should feel a really good stretch in your hamstrings now. Remember to keep those hips squared and pull back up using your core. And we're going to do that one more time. Pull from the top of your head, hinge from your hips, spine is long. Pull back up. Stretch back to Warrior Two. And just come up for a moment. Point your feet forward. They can even turn in a little bit. Stretch it a little. Hands on hips. We're going to take a couple of forward bends. So same thing that we did before, stretching our spine, pulling our head forward, but now we're going to do it in the center. So again, hinge from your hips, push that rear end back. If you need to bend your knees a little bit, that's fine. If you need to bend your knees a lot, that's fine. Whatever you can do here. Bend. And you can let your hands hang. If you want to get deeper, you can spread your legs a little bit more, get a little lower, drop your head, come back up to flat hands. If you need to pull your feet in a little, you can heel toe it. Hands to hips. And with a strong core, pull your head forward and up from your core. Awesome. Okay. So we are going to do one last motion, one last pose on this side, and then we're going to go to our other side. So again, rotate back to your Warrior One, to your Warrior Two. And the last pose we're going to do on this side is a little bit of a twist. So from your hips, gently helicopter your arms around. Try to keep your hips squared, arms shoulder height, keep it tight. If you can look back over your left shoulder. Pull those thighs together to find stability here. Pull up from your core and pull those thighs towards each other. Really ground down through your feet. And when you're ready, helicopter your arms back. Come back to center. Shake that out for a minute. Take a sip of water. And we're going to do the other side. I'm going to turn the other way so again you can see what my legs are doing. I have to remember where I left off. All right, so warrior one. Open to warrior two. Rotate your foot, your back foot, so it's perpendicular to the front. If you need to widen your stance, you can. Just take a moment here. Feel that. And then we're going to do 3 up. 1, straighten your front leg. 2, pull it out. Active in the arms, stretch your arms, fingertips, pulling. 3, sorry, 2. Is this 2? 2. Stretch it out again. Really feel your glutes and your hamstrings, quads firing up. Pull it up. And this will be the last one. 3. All right. Now, we're going to straighten our front leg. We're going to rotate our back foot so that we can square our hips forward. So my back foot is at a 45-degree angle. It's feeling pretty comfortable. And we can do the first one with the hands on the hips if you want, or you can just start behind your back. We're going to do 3 of these. So lift up tall from your ribs, your core, the crown of your head. Pull your spine straight. Head is pulling forward. Tail is pulling back. If you want, you can lift your hands, get a little more stretch in your shoulders. Remember, always keep your shoulders kind of down and back. Don't scrunch them up near your ears. And just pull everything. And with a strong core, pull up, straighten up. 1. 2. Don't forget to breathe here. 3. Pull up. And we're going to do 1 more. Awesome. Pull up. Rotate your feet forward. You can spread them a little wider. So for this forward fold, we're gonna play around with keeping our arms behind our back. So again, shoulders back and down. Really feel that opening across your front. Pull your hands down. Pull your head forward. You can have a bend in your knees. You don't have to come down as low this time. And just stretch your arms up. If you need to bend your knees more, do it. If you need to stretch your arms more, you can do that. And with a strong core, pull it up. Again. On the inhale, pull it up. And we're going to exhale when we fold, so we're making space in our midsection for that bend. So from your hips, exhale, blow it out. Great. Rotate back to your warrior 2. Just rest here for a minute. Realign your feet. Back foot is going to be perpendicular to the front. Stretch it out. And when you're ready, we're going to rotate, lift up through your core and rotate helicopter arms for a twist. If you can, look up over your back shoulder. If you want to take a bind here, you rotate your hand and then bring it back. And when you're ready, unrotate that arm, bring it forward, and come back to standing. All right, last pose for this segment, and then I'll make part 2. We're just gonna play around with a little bit of a warrior 3. And that's a great balance pose. What we're gonna do is not necessarily lift our leg all the way back. It could just be that you're on your toe. It could be that you're lifting a little. It could be that you're hinging and lifting more. So you're gonna see what feels right for you, and anytime you do this video, if you want to do more, you can. So we're gonna raise our arms up. We're going to lift, we'll start with our right leg. We're gonna lift it back. And just really ground down through your left foot. Really get your balance there. And be on your right toe. And when you're ready, you're going to start hinging forward. You're going to start hinging forward from your hips. So like this. And you're actually going to like pull your whole, you're going to shift your body forward a little bit more over your front leg, your front ankle. Right? So you're going to use both hands up. I'm just keeping this arm down so you can see. You can start just there, feeling that hinge, taking it as high as you want, or keeping it on the ground. You're still getting the benefit from it, keeping that toe down by the ground. But try to keep a straight back and hinge forward. Woo, that's hard. That one more time. You can also choose to have your arms back when you're doing this, or in prayer, whatever's comfortable for you. But pull forward and hinge. And again, try to keep your hips square. Not so easy. One more on the other side. Arms up. Left toe back. Really feel the grounding in your right leg. I've got a little bend in my knee. That helps me. On your back toe, just practice for a minute the hinge. And really ground down in your right foot. Feel all the 4 corners of your foot. Spread your toes. And you're going to notice that one side feels more balanced than the other. That's totally normal. Remember when your arms are up to have your shoulders down and back. And hinge. And hinge. Inhale. Exhale, hinge. Inhale. And wherever your next one lands, just hold it a little bit. It can be lifted, it could be on your toe. Exhale, hinge. breathe. And lower. All right, shake it out. Now, there's going to be a part 2 to this. If you want to do this as 2 separate videos, then at this point, what I would want you to do is take some hanging folds, come down to the ground, do some cat-cows, happy baby, shavasana. That's if you're only doing this part. If you want to keep going in this session and do the second part, then hold off on those moves. All right, been fun. More to come.